Today we are going to remove this right-hand side headlight assembly to replace the marker lamp in it. There's of course three bulbs in the front of this, the main headlight, low beam, high beam, and then there's a yellow bulb in here that this is the right side running lamp slash turn signal, and then you've got a marker light here, a little tiny marker light. That's what's burned out on mine. So we're going to take this apart and replace that bulb, but I thought while I'm taking it apart I will just show you how all three of these bulbs come out of here. So in case you have lost your owner's manual for this, I have mine. I looked at it, and of the three bulbs that I'm going to look at first, the first one is the running light turn signal. The book says you need to remove this whole assembly to do this, and I don't think that's true. If you look in here, the only accessible bulb is the turn signal light bulb, that side and this side. And if you got small enough hands, all you need to do is just reach in here. You'll see that there's a tab right here, and that tab, you pull inward toward that tab, and it has to get over or past a little locking piece of plastic there. So once you get in here, you can just pull that tab and then twist, and this bulb will come out. Now mine twists nice and easy because I've already taken it apart, but originally when I did this, just because this car is a '98 Grand Prix, it took a little muscle to twist that thing off, but it should eventually twist off. And then once you get it, you can just pull it out. There's the yellow bulb, no problem there, and it just pulls right straight up and out of the socket like that. And there's your bulb. It's a blade or a flat style plug, not a round push and twist like a lot of automotive bulbs are. And the stamp on this says that this is a 3457 NA, which you probably can't see. My book, my owner's manual, says it's supposed to be a 3357 NA, but obviously this is a 457, and this is the bulb that's been in the car since I've had it. So I would imagine a 3457 or a 3357 NA should probably work. But in any event, that's the turn signal and running light. So once that's out and you got the new bulb, you can just put it back into place. I believe it only goes in one way, so if it doesn't just push in nice and easy to begin with, then you might have to flip the bulb around and push it in. Okay, I had it right the first time apparently, and I'm trying to do this with one hand and it's not quite as easy. There we go. And then once that's in place, then of course you just reverse it, put it back in the hole, and give it its little twist, and that is it for that. Okay, so the headlight and the side marker are a little more complicated. You got to take this thing apart. So there's two bolts here. There's one bolt here, and there's one bolt up here by the turn signal light, and that's a 10mm bolt. So that's all the tool you need. And you'll see the other side. Here's the left side, one bolt, two bolts. And I've already pre-loosened mine, so with the 10mm wrench, and you just take these screws out, these bolts. There's the one, and there's the other. Those are done. Now when you pull this out, this assembly kind of comes forward and to the outside a little bit. You got to kind of work it a little bit to get it out because it's being held in back here. There's a little tab that slides over something back here, so you'll need to come, like I said, forward and to the side a little bit, and it should just eventually pull out. There we go. Alright, so now you'll see, here's your headlight bulb, and here is your side marker bulb. Let me spin around here and get a better look at it. There's your side marker bulb right there. So to get this out, you just, again, twist about a quarter of a turn, and there's the side marker light, and that just pulls right straight out. There's no twisting, it just pulls out, and you can replace that bulb and put it back in. That side marker bulb is a 194, and that's what you need to replace that bulb, is bulb number 194. Okay, the tricky one is the headlight here. Now the way this headlight works is the assembly is being held in by this retaining ring that's right here, and then of course you can see the plug for the bulb right behind it. So you can't remove this retaining ring yet. You have to leave that in place. So what you need to do is you need to work this tab up over this little raised piece of plastic right there. It kind of locks it into place. So again, I'm only doing this with one hand, so it's a little bit more complicated for me because I'm holding the phone with the other. But basically, you just lift up on that tab and you try to work this plug. Sorry for the jittery camera. You just try to work this plug out. Just kind of lift up and pull, and eventually this plug, sorry again, there we go, will pop out. So there's the plug, free, and then you can now rotate this retaining ring just a little bit of a turn and it pops off. And then the headlight assembly is right here. And there's your headlight. The owner's manual says to avoid touching with your finger the glass part of this bulb, especially if it's a halogen type bulb. Apparently the oil on your fingers may make this bulb fail, so don't touch it if you can avoid it, or touch it with gloves or something if you had to. I can do all this just by touching the base of the bulb here. So once you got your new bulb, you can just put it into place. I don't really think there's too special of a way that this bulb goes in, but you just want to make sure that this little flange, this little area right here, is flush into the housing. So once you get it in, you orient it so the little plastic tab is at the top there and push it into place. Maybe you might have to turn it a little bit to get it to fit correctly, to fit just right. There we go. So now it's in, and you notice that if you can see in there, if it's not too dark, the bulb is, or the little back piece of the bulb is nice and flat with the assembly, and so that should be in place correctly. And then you just take your blue plug and you just plug her back in, just like that. Except I need the retaining ring. So stand by. Alright, almost all that work for nothing. Alright, almost all that work for nothing here. Bulb's back on, retaining ring has to go over the plug, duh. And you'll notice that in this ring there's notches. There's a notch there, notches all around this, and they go in or go around this plastic tab or metal tab, this metal tab on the bulb. So you just kind of have to work it in there correctly, line up the plastic with the metal tabs. There we go, and then twist it in, twist it on. There we go. And now that is twisted in, and now the bulb is locked in. Now you can replace the plug. And that is your headlight. Or all three bulbs rather. So now, of course, you have to carefully work your assembly back in place, lining up the two bolt holes, and replace the bolts. And of course, before you replace the bolts, you might want to double check to make sure that all the bulbs that you replaced worked, to make sure that you don't do all this work for nothing and have to do something again like I just had to do with that stupid ring. So that is the headlight assembly and the three bulbs that are required up front.